So, I'm gonna start this off with a little bit of backstory. I was minding my own business alongside my parents in a nice home in Northeast Alabama. I'm not sure exactly when this was, but I was around 7 in age. Anyways, we're sleeping peacefully, and suddenly, we all three awoken by this absolutely terrifying growling sound, almost like that of a bear. This wasn't just a normal sound though. It sounded like it was on our front porch. My dad assumes that it's like a black bear or something, that they have just decided to chill on our porch, and he grabs a shotgun, prepared to defend himself if necessary. He holds me and my mother up and goes outside, ready to confront this bear. To his surprise, no bear was outside. He assumes it ran off, but he just tells us that we should just go back to sleep again, since all is fine. He assured us that this bear can't unlock doors. Like that helped any. Right before we begin falling asleep again, we hear a distant giggling that doesn't give off the vibe of a normal giggle though. It gives off of that, oh hell no, tone that makes you just want to get out of Dodge. My mother whispers to my dad, "What the hell was that?" My dad whispers over to me, "What? Was that you?" I simply replied, "No, it wasn't." Another few moments pass, and we hear a slight yelp, seemingly closer, but also quieter. We don't think anything of it. At least that's until we hear the woman scream distantly. This once again gets my dad and my mother up and alert. My dad once again grabs a shotgun, but this time he doesn't go outside. He even seems scared now. Obviously, this worries me. After about 30 seconds of us kind of just sitting around, another scream happens. But this time, it's directly in our yard, about 10 yards away. My dad rushes to turn on the light and simply whispers, "Don't say a word." I'm not sure what exactly happened after that, but nothing else seemingly happened that night. I'd assumed that I just dozed off or something. I'm not sure why this only just now clicked with me, but I now realize that this fits the description of a skinwalker really well. It's possible it might just be a misunderstanding by my family, but I simply don't think that it'd be that case, considering my parents recall the same things. I have recently done a lot of research into skinwalkers, and I've rethought the past trauma of mine and made a connection. Sorry for this being drawn out, but I randomly decided to post this before I forgot any of these important notes on the event, even though I doubt I'd likely ever forget any of this. So, long story short, a past trauma of mine, hearing screams from the woods, along with other sounds, is explainable through skinwalker creepypasta/folklore. If anybody has any questions about the event, I'm sure I'd be able to answer them. I seriously want to know if there is any possible explanation of this that isn't paranormal, but not many are possible. Extra note. I'm sure somebody would ask this, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer that. I didn't have nightmares and stuff before the event, other than the usual child nightmare stuff, but I did have an eerie nightmare directly following that event. One dream. I dreamt that I was being chased down a hallway by some creature. Not sure if it was human or what. Another dream, I had my entire family's voices. They had gone demonically deep, and they all kept saying, "Don't hide." And the last one I'll point out is a dream where my mother disappeared out of nowhere, like thin air out of the car. All these I vividly remember, and still creep me out to this day. For context, I live in the woods of southern West Virginia, deep in the Appalachian wilderness. I'm an hour and a half away from any large city and another 30 minutes from the nearest Walmart. Needless to say, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Yesterday I came home with a strange feeling that I was being watched. I thought it might have been like coyotes, so being the homesteader I am, I sat outside with my gun and LGD, livestock guardian dog, and waited for them to come to my chickens. My dog was alerting me to a presence or something, but when he would get close to where it was, it seemed to just disappear. He'd stick his nose in the air and catch the wind of where it was and where it had ran to, never finding anything. Fast forward to tonight, and I have the same feeling again. I take my light outside and shine it at the edge of the woods, and I noticed eyes staring at me. This is odd considering my 150-pound LGD is going nuts, barking and looking for this thing, and it's sitting still, not moving. I walk right up to it, and I see a bobcat looking at me dead in the eyes from 10 feet away. It looked away from me and walked around a tree, completely not paying me any attention. Now, for those who live in the city, bobcats are extremely rare to see, let alone come within 30 feet of a shining light directly at it. I pulled my pistol out to shoot it, and it didn't go off. I racked it back and tried again, and still nothing. It felt like something was holding my trigger back. I ran inside to get my shotgun, and I followed it into the woods, about a quarter mile before I lost it. Keep in mind, it never once ran from me, but instead just walked slowly, as if it was leading me somewhere. When I came back out with the shotgun and followed it into the woods, as soon as I crossed the wood line, fog rolled in. It was as if someone had a fog machine and was aiming it at me. I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. About the time I turn around to come home, I see through the trees faintly my fiance on the porch looking back and forth for me, a spot far away behind my house in the woods. I come back down and she's freaking out. She said she heard me screaming bloody murder for her to help me. She said I was screaming her name and help me from well over another quarter mile from where I actually was. She came outside to help me when she saw the light in the opposite direction of where she was hearing the screaming. During this whole thing, I never heard screaming once, and I never screamed myself. However, I had this constant feeling of being followed and watched, but I could never find what was doing it. The night was young and I expected it to get a lot weirder. I'll post an update if anything else happens. Edit. I didn't add this in the original, but I had recorded a 30 to 45 second video that only saved 2 seconds of the footage of me walking up to this cat. Also, people are confused of why I went back after it after I was safe myself. I was never in danger, or at least I thought I wasn't. However, I have chickens that are about 50 yards away from me. Yes, I can get more. However, it's way easier to shoot something than to spend another year raising chickens from day-old hatchlings, and my dog is a purebred I paid money for. His job is to protect my animals. However, when it comes to cats, dogs are extremely under-equipped to fight them. They don't have claws like cats, and cats are sneakier. It was a better option for me to just go with my gun than to send my dog that I actually do care for after this cat. Also, I would rather something not suffer if I have the opportunity to do so. Sending a dog after an animal is a good way of ensuring that something suffers. He's the last line of defense, essentially. I'm the first. Second edit. I didn't shoot it when I followed it with the shotgun because I didn't have a clear shot. It was always just barely out of range, and there were a lot of trees and brushes in between me and that cat. I'm not one to take unethical shots unless some kind of life is imminent. It hasn't killed any of my animals yet, so I'm not looking to wound or kill it unless absolutely necessary. Third edit. I've separated the text to make it a little bit easier to read. I wrote this in a panic about 15 minutes after the fact and made it extremely hard to read. Hopefully I was able to answer everyone's questions to where they're better understood. And to the people that have an issue with me killing a predator, you need to understand I don't have the option of building a bunch of things on this hill. I don't have the money, and secondly, the land makes things a lot harder to build on. Yeah, I could not own chickens and other things, but that would make my life a lot more difficult. They provide me food, and there have been multiple times that their eggs have been the only way of food source. You might be lucky enough to never be hungry, but not everyone has that ability to provide necessary funds all the time, especially not here in the southern West Virginia. The animals here are not bothered by humans. They have thousands and thousands of miles of untouched wilderness with plenty of food in it. They have no need to be near humans. I don't want to kill anything at all, and I've never had to. But when it comes to what's mine versus the wild, I'm choosing what's mine every day of the week. Any more comments on how that's wrong aren't going to be responded to anymore. I've explained all I can. If you can't understand that I'm only doing this out of necessary, then there's nothing I can do to convince you that I don't have a choice. So respectfully, I won't respond to those comments, as they're simply ignorant as to the fact of living in nature. To clarify, I did not have my phone with me at the time of the story because I was at a summer camp and they have strictly no electronics policies, so I could not record any audio or video of the events I'm about to describe. I was in the deep backcountry of Rocky Mountain National Park while backpacking with a group of friends from the camp. It was a long hike to our campsite, so everyone was pretty exhausted. I had quite a few friends get on this program with me, so we spaced out a few tents around these campgrounds. After we ate dinner, we all agreed to take it easy for that night and to just go to sleep. A few hours after everyone had gone to bed, I awoke to heavy footsteps approaching my tent. A moment later, I heard my friend's voice silently call my name. He asked me to go with him to the bathroom. It was protocol for a camper to bring a buddy to the bathroom at night in case something happened, but the buddy was supposed to be from your own tent. I told him to get someone from his own tent to just take him with him, as I was tired and extremely cold. He continued and insisted that I went with him, but again, I said no. He sounded extremely frustrated, but eventually gave in and left my tent. As I listened to him walk away, the only footsteps that I heard were heading into the woods around our campsite. No tent zipper, no whispering or anything about somebody else accompanying him to the bathroom. Just heavy footsteps slowly walking into the woods. I had an uneasy feeling after that, but I slowly went back to sleep. In the morning, I had asked him if he had found somebody else to go to the bathroom, but he said that he never woke up last night. Throughout the hike to the next campsite, I asked his tent mates if they heard him leaving or entering their tent, but they said no, that he never woke up. I asked my friend again if he remembers waking up during the night, but he said he is positive that he didn't. After that, my first assumption was that he was just sleepwalking, so I asked him if he had a history of doing it, but he said no. After that, I started to think about it, of how odd this entire interaction between me and him was. His words were a bit slurred, but he kept insisting that I go into the woods with him. To this day, I still wonder about these events. The only explanation that I have thought of, that I have not screamed, is that I was talking to that night was not my friend, but a skinwalker. Update. To all the skeptical people asking why I jumped to skinwalkers, there are 2 reasons. 1, the voice that I heard was 100% my friend, and 2, after the encounter, I was up for almost 2 hours, if I remember my watch correctly, in my eyes not hearing any other sound from any other text for that long makes me believe that it was not my friend messing with me, who would stay out in the freezing cold, dark, snowy forest for that long for a joke. Also, for the people saying that I'm lying and that they have heard the no phone excuse before, just look up Shaley, Colorado camps. It will show you that there are no electronics in the rules on the website. Now, before we exit this video, I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know why I uploaded 2 of the same genre. I know some people don't like the creepypasta side, so I decided to please both sides. So here's true ones, just so then you all get satisfaction basically. I wanted to make sure that all of you are very happy with the content that's coming out. So if I end up doing more of the creepypastas and there's something very close to that genre, I'll make sure to make that next video about that, but in a true format. But with that being said, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoy it. If you did and you do enjoy these types of Skinwalker stories, make sure to let me know down in the comment section. Make sure to like, comment, and if you're new to this channel and you haven't, make sure to subscribe. We're doing nothing but growing. Also, make sure to check out the channel members section on the channel and the links in the description, like Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. And if you haven't, and you do like these Skinwalker stories by the way, and you would like to hear a creepypasta, make sure to check out the most recent video I've uploaded. It's about 12 minutes long, but trust me, it's a very, very creepy one. I promise you'll enjoy it. But other than that, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one. Skinwalkers are kind of weird, not gonna lie. They be creepy.